What would you say you do here?
We're joined today by Hanna. How are you, Lisa?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing well. As we're continuing the series here about what people do at KaiNexus, I guess I'll just ask you to jump right in and tell us, what do you do here at KaiNexus?
Sure. So I'm a strategic account manager here at KaiNexus. So I handle all of the post-sales activity on an account, starting with going through proper implementation. Once sales hands off the account, I make sure that our customers are getting the full onboarding, training, and implementation process done correctly. I work with our champions to discuss strategy and rollout plans after that, keep customers informed of product enhancements and new features and how they can use KaiNexus more efficiently. Help them implement new workflow, outside of onboarding. And I am generally just the one single point of contact they can continuously reach out to. And if I happen to not be the right resource to get their question answered, I am the person who loops in that resource as well.
Yeah. So there's, can you talk a little bit about, the handoff from sales? We've talked in the podcast already with Clint Corley and Jeff Russell.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of them that's making that handoff to you. I was wondering if you can maybe kind of just use, without naming names necessarily, kind of talk through a typical situation and how that handoff works.
Sure thing. So once a customer signs on, agrees to be a customer, they are welcomed into the KaiNexus family. I typically will meet with Clint or Jeff and discuss just the ins and outs of the account, anything that they are looking for from us, and essentially like what use case they're going to want to implement first. I do that also with the rest of our onboarding team so that we're all informed on what the account wants. After that, I'm introduced, or another account manager is introduced to the customer, and then kind of kick off, set expectations on both sides of what's going to happen from that point out. And then I kind of guide them through enablement, onboarding, training, and then once they launch, they're finally back with me full time for ongoing support.
Yeah. And I imagine it's really important to make sure that the champion on the customer side is identified if that's not already obvious through the sales process. Like that may or may not be the person that Jeff or Clint were primarily interacting with, right?
Yep, absolutely. First call, we do have a typical kickoff, and on that call, we do introduce the concept of an implementation team. Typically, that's 2 to 5 people, and those are the ones that end up being like internal admins on the customer side, and the ones that we tend to have all of the onboarding calls and then check-ins following that call.
And what are some of the factors, when you talk about the full onboarding process and that being done correctly? Like what are a couple of the factors that help tee up a customer for success?
Sure. So when I got here a couple of years ago, there was the bones of a process in place. And since we've got here, we built that out a little bit more. So again, the concept of the implementation team, just really defining who those members are, I think has been really helpful for customers. It was one of the questions I got most frequently on who we should have on those calls. So we made that just a little bit more apparent in that kickoff call. We also introduced the concept of an enablement call, which was a project that was led by Ryan Rippey, our customer enablement manager, where we set the foundations to make sure that our customers are speaking the same language in KaiNexus terms before they got to onboarding. And then we also introduced a follow-up call to that to just really review and kind of hit home that knowledge. Mm-hmm. And then they move into onboarding, where they have the sessions that are kind of around the 5 pillars of KaiNexus. And I think, again, that structure really helped to prevent scope from creeping and really help to define what those areas of KaiNexus are that they're going to need to pay attention to going forward.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of crafting of the overall solution for each individual customer, right?
Yep. A lot of use case crafting, and just especially when it comes to like reporting out, it differs based on customer and how they report, whether that's like by functional area or physical location. So we work with them to define that, and we want them to know when we say like a network location, that it is related to reporting and not necessarily just a physical location.
Yeah. Yeah. And as KaiNexus continues to grow, you're keeping pretty busy, I imagine.
We stay busy.
Thanks for talking about your role and the different things you do. The one other question we're asking everyone in the series is to talk a little bit about something that's an interest or a hobby or something that you do outside of work.
Mm-hmm. So for me, a couple things come to mind. I have been pretty consistently working out for about a decade now. And in the past few years, I've actually moved my workouts to like early morning, 6:30. And it's one of those habits at this point that I'm like obsessive about. And if I don't start my day with my workout, I feel off the whole day. Uh-huh. So that's enjoyable for me. Beyond that, something that I've been really passionate about for a little while now too, so much so that I'm actually getting my master's degree has been organizational psychology. Since I'd been an undergrad, I'd been interested in the concept of like the organization and the complex systems and motivation, and how we can improve like employee experience. And a lot of the things that I've learned from my master's degree or trying to get my master's degree is applicable to my role currently, especially that being like work motivation and how to encourage people and empower them to want to succeed in what they're doing. So that's been of particular interest to me. And I spent a lot of time reading about that and thinking about that. Yeah. And one other thing, which I know I'll get a few eye rolls for, but I dabble in astrology. I don't believe it 100%, but I just think it's fun to talk about and think about.
Well, there you go. I don't know enough about that to even ask a follow-up question. You can't see me. I'm not rolling my eyes. You know, if that's something you find enjoyable, then that's great. Well, I want to thank the listeners for tuning in. I want to thank Lisa for joining us. We've been joined again today by Lisa Hanna, a strategic account manager at KaiNexus. Thanks for taking some time to share a little bit about what you do and a little bit about yourself.
Thanks for having me, Mark.